Hey, welcome back. So today we're going to be doing zucchini bread. We're going to hop into my book again and we're going to make the best zucchini bread you've ever had. A lot of people that get off put by zucchini bread try this and I kind of changed their mind quite fast. So don't take my word for it. Go ahead and knock this out. Maybe take about 10 minutes of prep and then a solid like 45 minutes in the oven. Recipes below, as always. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube things. And if you want to support, it'll be on Etsy for $1. Notes. Obviously, this is a very large recipe. I would recommend having it or at least quartering it. Don't hold the batter for more than 24-ish hours, like till the next day, because it is zucchini. It has a lot of water in it, and if you put it in a container after you make it to bake it off the next day, a lot of the water will separate into the batter and then make your batter all watery and just not be as good. So I recommend making this when you plan to bake it off. I have held it overnight, but that means like I made the batter at like 8 p.m. and then baked it off at like 9, 10 a.m. the next day. So yeah, let's just go ahead and hop right in it. First thing you want to do, you want to go ahead and beat your sugar and your oil together while we separate our eggs and get that ready. So let's go ahead and measure out our sugar and our oil and get that on the mixer. Okay, I know your instinct is to use a whip, but just go ahead and use a paddle because after we use throw in our zucchini and whatnot, the whip's not going to work, and then you just got to wash more stuff, and we don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and throw this on our mixer while we get our rest of our eggs separated and whatnot. So I always save my egg yolks for another day to make like creme brulee or anything, but obviously save your egg yolks and use another recipe. So obviously if this was a meringue or whatnot, I tell you to go ahead and like make sure it's perfect and get every little piece of egg yolk out of it. But we use our egg whites on top of whole eggs, so that way the bread isn't as heavy. Instead of using just a straight 20 eggs, it's 14 whole, 6 egg whites. But there's a few streaks of yolk in here. I'm not going to stress it, obviously, because I'm putting full eggs in it. Okay, now that the sugar is broken down a little bit in the mixer with the oil, we're going to go ahead and add our eggs and our vanilla into our mixer and just let it keep going. Once the eggs and vanilla incorporate into your sugar and oil, so that way it doesn't like just splash out, you can pop it onto number 2 and let it start aerating a little bit more. I find if you let it aerate a little bit more before adding everything else in, it helps keep your bread nice and light. Okay, for your zucchinis, it's just short of 4 pounds, or at least in a full recipe, at 1,700 grams. I'm making this because my zucchinis are a little sad. Obviously, you don't need to use sad zucchinis. I would never peel them if these weren't sad. But if you can see, some of these are all bruised and a little grody. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up some of these parts like that and either cut them out or... What the fuck is this called again? Peeler. God damn it. Brain fart. So let's go ahead and measure out your zucchini. Definitely make sure that you keep it whole though. You want your zucchini grated. So if we cut it into little pieces, it's going to be impossible to grate, obviously. So yeah. So see, now that looks fine. All the other little parts on here I'm not really worried about. I'm going to take off the ends. There you go. So again, see, it's a little sad here. So I'm just going to take out the sad parts, and otherwise all the nutrients is in the skin, so don't peel them if you have good zucchinis. Now that you have your zucchini weighed out, I want you to go ahead and grate it. If you have a hand grater, that's totally fine. This shouldn't take too long. just make sure if you do have like a food processor, right, that has different sides, I want you to use the bigger sides. I find this, if you, same thing as a grater, if you have two graters, if you have one with like tiny, like fucking holes on the outside, and then obviously get a bigger grate up from a different one, the smaller one breaks down in the mixer. So, not that big of a deal, but I find you have a better end product using the larger grate. Okay, if you did do it in the food processor, as always, you're gonna have all those like little sits. Like, don't worry about it. Being 10, 20 grams underneath isn't gonna ruin your bread. But having these big ass pieces in your loaf will. So make sure we're not throwing these into our loaf. Either chuck them or throw them in a bucket to give them to your ducks, like I do. Okay, I do want you to put your zucchini in now, right? But all we're gonna do is let it incorporate and then turn your mixer off until we're ready to put our dry in, because we want it to like incorporate, right? But if you let it go too long, it's just gonna break down all the zucchini and knock out all the water in the zucchini, which is not what we're looking for, obviously. So go ahead and throw it into your mixer. Let it just incorporate, I don't know, 5 to 10 times around, and then kill it. And then we're gonna measure out our dry and then add it to our bowl. Okay, see? Ah, see? It's incorporated. Now let's just kill it. Okay, we shut off our mixer with our zucchini in it. All of our wet is in there waiting for a dry. So let's just go ahead and measure out our dry, pop it in, and bake these off. So I'm gonna weigh out my flour, and then let's throw everything else in it. Okay, now that we got our flour in, right, let's throw in our baking powder, baking soda, salt, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and then we're gonna whisk it all together so that way no leveling agents are pocketed and sitting in one spot, right? Okay, that was it. We're just gonna throw this into our bowl, let it mix, and then scrape the bottom because it never gets to the bottom, and then let it mix some more, and then we're gonna put them in our pans, bake it off. Okay, this looks fantastic. So let's go ahead and bake this off and enjoy this deliciousness. This does make about 6 loaves, give or take. Well, I guess it makes 6 9x5 like home pan loaves. So it'll probably make like more like 5 for me. Or, I mean, you can bake it off however you want. You know, if you got big ones, you can bake off big ones. If you got small ones, you can make off. You can make these into muffins if you want. I just prefer them in loaves, so I make them in loaves. Before we portion it all out, you want to spray it and put parchment down. And I find you can get 6 to 8 loaf pans of parchment in one sheet. So I just cut out my own and then spray them down. And I know someone's gonna be like, you sprayed them down, you don't need parchment. But you do. You do need the parchment. It helps. I wouldn't lie to you. You don't want to go through all this and then get it stuck after you bake it. That would be very sad. I find it's about, it depends on your pan size, right? So these I'm gonna do 6 4-ounce scoops and then portion as many as I need. Put them on a sheet pan and pop them in. Okay, 7 scoops. 7. Probably a 9 by 5 would be 6 though. Yes, yes, for those of you that can count, I did do 8. I didn't think I'd have 7 more scoops for a whole 6 pans, so I just did 8. So they're gonna take a little while to bake. So yeah, 350 for 40 minutes to an hour, depending on what size loaf you do. Obviously a 9 by 5 might be like 35 to 45 minutes. Remember, let the loaf tell you. The time is irrelevant. When it's done, it's done. Let the time just be a gauge. So I'm gonna pop these in for 40 minutes and then go from there. You can always add more time, you can't take it away. I doubt they're done, but if you're not salivating from the smell already, then I don't think you're human. Yeah, not done. Not done. Okay, the biggest mistake I see in most bakeries is that like muffins, baked goods, whatnot, obviously it depends on what it is. But like these guys, a lot of people want to flip them out immediately. But what's going to happen is that everything underneath this is super soft, so you're going to smush it, right? So we're going to continue to cook that. I mean, they are still cooking because the pan is so hot. We're going to leave these in the pan for about 5 minutes, and that way it nice and gets a nice like shell on top, right? Because like although to the touch it feels like, you know, hard, underneath is is all soft, so it can't support the weight when you flip it out. So then it's just gonna like compact, and your bread's not gonna be as aerated and nice like all this nice work we did, and then mess up your product. So instead, we're just gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes and then flip them out and then let them cool off and then go from there. So let's let them sit. Okay, now that they've sat for 5 minutes and have a nice little shell, we're going to flip them off and then pull off the parchment paper underneath. Okay, and again, the same concept as before. If we flip them back over, they're going to be really soft and then compact. So let's leave them here for like three minutes just to kind of get that, so it's no longer damp and from all the condensation and whatnot. And then we'll flip them, let them cool, and then, or don't, they're your loaves, and enjoy. If your whole house or bakery isn't just like filled with this aroma right now, yeah, I don't know. But these are pretty freaking dope, so I love to eat them. I put back a whole loaf with coffee. These turned out really good. So yeah, let's let them sit. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes and definitely cool. Like you could tell, like from when we took it off and touched it till now, they definitely have a shell. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip them all back over. And then we're just gonna let them cool down. I mean, they're your loaves. Do whatever you want with them. I can't tell you what to do with them, but yeah, I'm just gonna let them go ahead and cool until I break into this and devour a whole loaf. So yeah, if you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, all the YouTube things. Recipes below as always. If you want to support, I got it on Etsy for $1. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, yeah. Tune into the next one. Thanks for sticking around. Have a great day.